recap for today's show. Of course, the NFL playoffs are in the second round, and we don't talk about pro leagues on this show, unfortunately, even though I personally do watch these leagues, and I did watch last weekend's first round action. Definitely very exciting, but we will leave the professional sports talk to after the show when I hang out with my buddies at the pub. Anyway, getting to SFU hockey, the Clan last played on December the 6th in a 4-0 victory over Eastern Washington University. That was the last game for the Simon Fraser University Clan prior to the Christmas break. So now that the Christmas and New Year's break is over, the Clan is back in action tonight at the Bill Copeland Sports Center in Burnaby, facing the University of Victoria. And I did manage to catch up with Steve Chong again. He covers the SFU men's hockey team on a regular basis, and we did a little interview, or I did a little interview with him for this program. Let's take a listen. So we're pleased today to have Steve Chong, who has his own Jambalaya show right here on CJSF, in the studio with us today to talk about the SFU men's hockey team for a little bit. Now, thanks for coming on today, Steve. How are you?
Tired today. I have spent time commenting on a blog and a message board, and the New Year's I was out all morning.
Oh, wow. It's well, glad that you're here anyway. Really appreciate it. And you must tell us, the listeners, about your blog posts sometime. But for today, we're just going to talk about hockey. So, yeah, and actually, since you're on here today, we might as well give your show some publicity. Now, you do a jambalaya show, and you mix in some sports in there as well, I understand. When can listeners catch your program on CJSF?
You can catch me on Saturdays between 10 and noon most weekends. Between 10 and 11, I host Hit Parade, where I count down the top 30 albums in the Burnaby Mountain each week. And between 11 and noon, you can listen to my Jambalaya featuring independent artists and a commentary on the SFU athletics, and sometimes on Metro Vancouver issues.
Fantastic. So it sounds like you're very busy, Steve, talking about sports, music, and also social issues. So really appreciate you coming on today. Now, getting into our discussion about the SFU men's hockey team. Now, I understand you cover them on your show as well. So for the casual sports fan who loves hockey but doesn't know anything about the men's hockey team at SFU, what can you tell us about this team? I understand they're in second place. What would you also tell the casual sports fan?
Well, SFU Hockey has been one of the best programs in the British Columbia Intercollegiate Hockey League. The Clan has been among the top teams in the last few years. This year's edition is in second right now, only 4 points behind Trinity Western in Langley.
And last year, did they lose in the finals last year, or what happened last year?
They got knocked out in the first round, I believe, by Trinity Western.
All right, but still very competitive this year, second place in the league. Now, I understand that Nick Sandor, who was one of the assistant captains, is leading the league in scoring, or leading the team in scoring, I should say, with 18 points in 11 games. What can you tell us about Nick's play this season?
Well, Nick is a great playmaker and CCIs extremely well. Nick tallied 2 helpers as he assisted on Adam Caligari and Jono CC's goals as the Clan blanked Eastern Washington 4-0 back on December 6th. And Sandor has 18 points, 13 of them assists.
Wow, so definitely a playmaker for sure. And I understand you're also high on Jono Sissi.
Sissi.
Oh, Sissi. Okay, he's a forward who's only 5'10", but he plays big. Thoughts on him, and why you think he's a great player for SFU?
First of all, Sissi is listed at 5'10", but is actually smaller.
Okay.
In terms of height anyway, but he plays very big for his size. Well, he catapulted to second in all-time BC IHL scoring earlier this year. The Clan struggled when he was out for a month earlier in the season, but after CC returned on November 15th, SFU has won 4 of last 5.
Okay, so it sounds like he's really an impact player for SFU. And yeah, you know how the media guides and like the websites always list heights. and weights, but sometimes they're not accurate. When you come across face to face with some of the players, you can see that their actual height is not the same as what's listed. But anyway, it's good to know that CC has made a great impact on the SFU team. Now, Steve, your thoughts on Andrew Perrant, the 6'2" goalie? It seems that SFU wins whenever Perrant's in goal, 6 wins and 2 losses on the season.
Well, Andrew has been the backbone of the clan, has rescued his teammates on countless occasions especially when clan was protecting a lead or is tied with their opponents.
And I understand you mentioned as well, or off the air, you told me this earlier, but the team needs to be more consistent on the road and win road games to have more success. What else needs to happen for the SFU team to be able to win the championship in the league this season?
Well, the clan's defense must clamp down defensively in the third. In the 2 November games, SFU were either badly outshot or squandered leads. On November 15th, against Selkirk, the 2014 champs, the clan allowed 13 shots while nursing a 1-0 lead. Perrant was the main reason why they squeaked out a 1-0 win. On November 29th, the clan traded goals with Trinity in the third, squandering a 3-2 lead they built in the first 40 minutes. SFU eventually won the game in the shootout, but relying on shootout to win games is a bad idea. Last game against Eastern Washington, the worst team in the BCIHL, they didn't have that kind of a problem squandering leads or being badly outshot, but Eastern Washington was playing with half the roster missing, or a lot of their good players missing.
Well, you made a couple of great points there, Steve, especially the point where you're saying that if you're having a 1-goal lead going to the third period, you want to clamp down defensively and not give up like 13 shots on goal and have to rely on your goaltender to bail you out. So that's definitely a key point. And also, you definitely, if you have a lead going to the third period, you want to be able to hang on and not have to go, to have it go to a shootout when anything can happen. Because I think we were hanging out the other day when the NHL Islanders, they had like a 3-0 lead and they went on to allowed Buffalo to tie the game and then eventually lost in a shootout. So things can happen. Bad things can happen if you let your goaltender have to try and bail you out consistently. Now, talking about yourself now, Steve, let's focus on you. I understand, Steve, you've done some play-by-play for the SFU men's team before. What was it like? Were you nervous? Was it like a dream come true to do play-by-play for a hockey game? Tell us more.
Well, first of all, doing play-by-play, becoming a play-by-play man on November 15th as SFU hosted Selkirk was a dream come true. But at the end of the night, I realized I'm better off doing either color commentary or host. The fact that, if my memory recalls correct, neither team actually had names on the back.
I see. So that's one issue, and also I guess you have to really know the roster well, like looking at the numbers and having to figure out who's number what and that kind of stuff. So that can be tricky. And what about the puck? Like, how easy was it to follow the puck when you're doing the broadcast, or is it a difficult thing to keep track of?
Puck was pretty easy to find because we are at the top. We are at the center ice area, but way above in the stands. So we were able to see pretty good the ice surface.
Okay. Well, again, congratulations on having the opportunity to do play-by-play for a hockey game recently in November. Great stuff. Now, getting back to the SFU men's team, how can the casual sports fan listening today stay in touch with this team and see how they're doing?
Well, go to the SFU hockey website, BCIHO website, and if you want to listen to the home games, tune into Evolution 1079. Evolution 1079 streamon.fm.
All right, and you talk about the team obviously as well on your show, right, as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, thanks, Steve, for coming in. We'll look forward to listening to your updates on the team as well and your show. Thanks again for coming in, and good luck with your broadcasting career.
Thank you.
So thanks to Steve Chong for coming onto the program and sharing his thoughts about the SFU men's hockey team. Now, obviously, as you can tell, we recorded this little banter a couple of days after New Year's. So Steve mentioned, of course, he was out partying all night for New Year's Day, and we just did an interview on the 3rd, so a couple of days after that. So again, really appreciative of Steve Chong coming in to do this this update on the SFU men's hockey team with me on the show. And just to remind you, you can also catch Steve Chong's programs here on CJSF Saturdays from 10 to noon. He plays music as well as talk about sports and other social issues in the world. So he's on just couple hours after the show, so stay tuned for that later today. Now, getting back to the SFU men's hockey team, as mentioned earlier, Simon Fraser is in second place right now. They've played 14 games so far this season, and they do play just a 24-game schedule, so only 10 remaining games for the Clan. And right now they have a record of 8 victories, 6 losses, and no ties. So 16 points and 14 games. And as Steve mentioned in the clip, 4 points out of first place. So definitely the Clan is still in contention for first place finish, and who knows what will happen in the playoffs. So we'll obviously, if you're interested in catching hockey, the men's hockey team, of course, for SFU, you can check them out tonight at 7 o'clock at the Bill Copeland Arena. Now, getting back to other hockey, I mentioned early at the top of the program that the major midget hockey teams, well, primarily in BC, because we cover them on a regular basis. Some of those teams were actually invited to participate in a max tournament that was happening in Calgary during the Christmas break. So for a lot of these hockey players, these are 15 to 17-year-old hockey players. For a lot of them, they actually did not get a Christmas break or New Year's break, as we'll talk about momentarily, because 4 teams, I believe it was the Vancouver Northwest Giants, they were there, the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs, and the Okanagan Rockets, as well as the Cariboo Cougars. These 4 teams from the BC Major Midget Hockey League were invited to play in the tournament. It was like a 25-team tournament happening in Calgary called the Max Tournament, and it included teams from Europe as well as the States and in Canada. So definitely you can call it kind of an international tournament or event for 15 to 17-year-old hockey players as they try to show the world, I guess, they are among the best in terms of their age group. And unfortunately for the Okanagan Rockets, who are the defending BC Major Midget League champions, the Rockets actually lost all 4 games of their round-robin part of the tournament, so the Okanagan Rockets did not make it into the playoff part of the tournament, so that's unfortunate for them. And again, I do have to remind you that the Okanagan Rockets, even though they were last year's league champion in the BC Major Midget League, there was only one returning player from last year's team to this year, because everybody else has moved on, including last year's coach, so they're being coached by a different but they have a different head coach this season, is what I'm just trying to say. And they unfortunately lost all 4 games in the Max tournament, the round-robin part of the event. Now, positive news, though, is that the Vancouver Northwest Giants, again, one of the top teams in the league the last few years, even this year, they are in 4th place right now. Actually, tied for 3rd place, pardon me. But the Vancouver Northwest Giants are a strong team again this year. They had some success in the Max tournament, as did the Cariboo Cougars, who are the top team in the BC Major Midget League at the Christmas break. So we'll take a look at the Vancouver Northwest Giants first, because they actually had a very successful round robin part of the tournament because they had a record of 3 wins and 1 tie, and that propelled them into a playoff spot. And actually on December the 31st at 9 a.m. Local time, it was 9 in the morning in Calgary, the Giants made it to the semifinals after they defeated the Calgary North Stars 4-0 in the quarterfinals. So this was again New Year's Eve, in the morning obviously, but they won their quarterfinal game to get them into the semifinals. But the semifinals are actually happened on the same day, because just hours after that, on the same day, on December 31st at 3 p.m. local time, the Giants then played in the semifinals against the Regina Pat Canadians. And the Giants looked like they were going to go to the finals because the Giants led 1-0 after 2 periods. Unfortunately, the Regina Pat Canadians tied it in the third at 1-1, and then Giants captain Keegan Jones put Vancouver Northwest ahead with 8 minutes left. The Canadians tied it with 6 minutes to go, and then the two teams went into overtime. There was no scoring in the first overtime period, so it went to a second extra session, and that was where the Regina Pat Canadians got the game winner to knock the Giants out. So that also put the Regina Pat Canadians into the final. And again, all of this happened on December 31st. So great tournament for the Vancouver Northwest Giants. Again, they went undefeated in the round robin tournament, and then they were about 6 minutes away from a berth into the finals, but they lost in double overtime in the semifinal, and this is just a 1-game elimination round. So good tournament for the Giants, but unfortunately they just got eliminated in an overtime game in the semifinal. While as for the Cariboo Cougars, the top team in the BC Major Midget League at the Christmas break, they beat the German under-17 Nationals by a score of 5-1, also on December 31st at noon local time. That victory put the Cougars into the semifinals, where they outlasted the Calgary Buffaloes 5-4 in a game played at 6 p.m. that same day on December 31st. So it nearly could have been like an all BC Major Midget League final between the Giants and the Cariboo Cougars, but again, unfortunately, the Giants lost in double overtime in their semifinal game. But that actually meant a final game between Cariboo and the Regina Pat Canadians for the Max tournament at the Scotiabank Saddledome the next day on January the 1st. So again, we're talking about holidays here, but these 15 to 17-year-old players got to spend the Christmas break playing in the round robin tournament, and then they had to play on New Year's Eve, and then if they made it to the finals, they played on New Year's Day, January the 1st. So anyway, getting back to the final between the Cariboo Cougars and the Regina Pat Canadians. Again, this is a 1-game elimination game. With less than 2 minutes into the game, Cougars forward Wesley Shipton scored the first goal and put the Cougars up 1-0. Now, a few minutes later, the Canadians' Owen Sillinger answered with a goal to tie the game at 1-1. In the second and third periods, both teams actually battled hard, but neither team was able to take the lead. The Canadians actually had a lot of shots and even a lot of close range chances, but Cougars goalie Griffin Outhouse was able to stop all the shots in the second and third periods. And then in the overtime period, the Canadians had a power play, but they were unable to score, taking the game into a second overtime. So it's like another 2 overtime game, and this time in the final. So it's, again, very exciting. You can bet for these young players, just being part of the action in a final game, elimination game, and they have to go into 2 overtimes. Now, with just over a minute into the second overtime period, the Cougars' Chase Dubois capitalized on a puck that bounced off of the boards, and he put it into the net, and that won the Cariboo Cougars the gold medal at the Max tournament. So congratulations to the Cariboo Cougars as they win the 2014 Max tournament. Again, this is a tournament with 25 teams from Canada, some teams in the States, and some teams from Europe. And to have actually two BC teams make it into the Final Four, that's really amazing. And it very well could have been a final game between two BC clubs, but hey, one BC team, the Cariboo Cougars, were able to win the whole thing. So congratulations again to the Cariboo Cougars, and we'll see how they do, the rest of the season in the BC Major Midget League as the second half of the season gets underway this weekend. So we'll see how they fare. Again, wanted to say congratulations to the Vancouver Northwest Giants as well, even though they did not make it to the final game. Still like an amazing effort for them, just because they were undefeated in the round robin, and they actually made it into like a second overtime in the semifinal. So definitely perhaps a sign of things to come in the second half of the season in the BC Major Midget League when they resume play in BC here against the other teams in the league. Now, obviously, because the tournament took place in Calgary, I wasn't there, but there we do have some sound bites from a couple of the players on the Giants side, as the Giants TV broadcaster was there to do a couple of interviews, and we can take a listen here as they talked to a couple of players after one of the round robin games. Spoke with Josh Latta as well as Kyle Kaufman. So we'll take a listen first of all to Josh Latta, number 22 of the Vancouver Northwest Giants, as he spoke with Giants TV.
Speaking with forward Josh Latta of the Vancouver Northwest Giants after a huge 3-2 win over the CAC Greg Distributors. And Josh, talk us through this hockey game. It was a pretty crazy game, to say the least. Very exciting from my eyes upstairs, but from the bench, what were you guys thinking? Your goaltender, David Tenick, definitely standing on his head for sure.
Well, yeah, Black Widow, he really bailed us out. He gave himself that nickname and lived up to it today. It was probably the most exciting game I've ever been a part of. Last period was just absolutely phenomenal to be a part of, and I thought from start to finish, there was a couple times in the second period there that we got rattled, but I think everyone did their part today and stepped up when they needed to, and that's why we won, not because of any individual, just we played well as a team.
You talk about players stepping up, including yourself. You score a huge goal there with about 3:18 left in the hockey game. Just a shot from Kaufman right off the goalie, and that finds your stick. You've got a player drenched all over back of you, and you're still able to finish that. Just talk us through that play and how it developed in your eyes.
We got the puck in deep. I think Justy made a good play to get it in off the breakout, and we were battling for it in the corner. Cal picked it up, and I went to the net, made a great shot there. Really smart play. Cal's a smart player, and came out to me, and I just was thinking, get my stick on it, get at the net. Goalie was sliding over, and I got a 5-hole. I was pretty lucky and happy about that one for sure. It's one of my biggest goals I think I've scored.
You look back at a goal from Justin Wilson, highlight reel goal from him, and when you guys were on the bench or just watching him or just being on the ice there with him, what was it like? You see him just go right one-on-one with this defenseman. He pulls the toe drag out, and then he goes top shelf.
Yeah, I gave him the pass, and I was just watching, and I was skating up with him, and then after he made that move around the D-man, my jaw kind of dropped, and I was just watching it on, and then he made that forehand, like top shelf move, and that just capped it off. What a beautiful, probably one of the nicest goals I've ever seen live. It was ridiculous. So, just shows how much skill he has. He's a great player to play with. I enjoyed playing with him.
Now things aren't going to get any easier here. You got a big tough test tomorrow coming up against the New York Junior Islanders. What do you guys have to do to, build off this win? You got 2 straight here at the Max. How do you build off this recent success and bring it into tomorrow's game?
I think we did a lot of things right these last 2 games. We played great on defense with some great goaltending as well, and we know that'll be there for us, so we just got to do our part in front of them, and I don't think anything really changes what we've done from the last 2 games, but in terms of competing, we need to compete just as hard as we did, no matter who we're playing against. The Islanders are going to be a tough test team. They got some good offense, I know, and so we'll have to be sharp defensively and then capitalize on our opportunities for sure. And it'll be bright and early, so we'll have to wake up for this one.
Appreciate this, Josh, and good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Tyson.
Perfect. Josh Latta join us here after a 3-2 victory over the CAC at Greg Distributors.
You heard in the clip there in the interview that Josh Latta mentioned guys having to wake up early in the morning to play in these games. As mentioned earlier, some of the games start at 9 a.m., so they do have to get up early to play. And as we saw earlier, or as I mentioned earlier, the semifinal and the quarterfinal, both games taking place on the same day. So it obviously takes a lot out of these players having to play a couple of games in a single day. And well-spoken kid, Josh Latta, and he had a goal and assist in that particular round-robin game, and in helping the Vancouver Northwest Giants to an undefeated record in the round-robin part of the tournament. And now here is Northwest Giants TV speaking with Kyle Kaufman as well.
The Giants forward Kyle Kaufman after a 3-2 victory over the CAC Greg Distributors. And Kyle, talk us through this hockey game. It was kind of a back and forth kind of game, and then you guys just turned things up in the third.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a really competitive game. I mean, both teams had their chances. I know they outshot us quite badly, but I mean, I thought we were there the whole game. Had a couple of lapses. We came hard, really strong in the third, and came through with a couple big goals. Sick goal by Justin, and then just an unreal goal, and then Josh to win it with 3 minutes left was huge for us. So it was just an exciting game. Like, great to be a part of it. It was a crazy, intense game.
You talk about that goal from Josh at the end there with about 3 minutes left. You guys are starting to create some pretty good chemistry, you and Josh. Of course, you guys are rooming here on the road in Calgary. What has it been like just getting to know Josh and creating that chemistry with him out there on the ice as well?
Yeah, for sure. I'm rooming with Josh. I've known him for a long time. I think for sure the fact that we have a good relationship off the ice and we're buddies, like it helps create chemistry on the ice for sure. And yeah, I mean, we click together, and we hope to continue creating offense for the team.
Now you look at that goal, and were you thinking pass first right to Josh, and because you saw him open, or?
Yeah, I mean, with 3 minutes left there, I got the puck on the wall. I knew Josh was going to be in the area. I just got it on net. I just threw it hard and low, and luckily enough, bounced out right on his tape. So good on him for burying. It was a big goal for us.
You got another tough test tomorrow morning against the New York Junior Islanders. They haven't won a game here yet at the tournament. Very short bench as well. What do you guys have to do to come out in that hockey game and win that hockey game? Because you guys know that you can have that chance at continuing here at the tournament.
Right. Like you said, they haven't won a game. Maybe they're feeling a little down. They third game, they're going to be a little tired with a short bench for sure. We're looking to jump on them early, just get them out of there. Like, put pressure, forecheck, play our game, and yeah, I mean, we'll see this as a big step. Like, we win this game tomorrow, and we're right there. We're in the playoffs. We're in the hunt. So, I mean, yeah, the boys should be ready to go.
Appreciate this, Kyle, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
By Kyle Kaufman after a big 3-2 win over the CAC Greg Distributors.
That was Kyle Kaufman of the Vancouver Northwest Giants speaking to Northwest Giants TV after the round-robin games at the Max Tournament. That's all the time we have on the show. Special thanks to Steve Chong and Northwest Giants TV, and also thanks to you, the listeners, as well, for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the interviews and the updates. We'll talk to you again next time.
You never know what they're going to say.
I just want your lips all up on my face like a cephalopod sometimes suckers itself to a scuba diver's mouth.
Because they're poets.
My grandma got love. Not for this world, though. But hey, my grandma lived in any world she want.
But you can find out every Saturday night at 9:30 on Shout, Clap, Slam, live from the Vancouver Poetry Slam.
We spoil music for everyone.
Right here on CJSF 90.1 FM.
Are you ready for action, chaos, and mayhem?
Well then come on down and support the SFU hockey team. They have a strong lineup this year and are ready to dominate. Games are held at the Bill Copeland Arena, and if you're a student, admission is $5. For more information, head over to www.
You are listening to CJSF 90.1 FM and CJSF.ca because you are better than most people. Thank you.
Welcome to the Shortwave Report for January 9th, 2015. I'm your host and producer, Dan Roberts. The Shortwave Report is a 30-minute review of news and opinion heard on the shortwave radio and the internet in Northern California. Listening to international broadcast at home is quite easy. You just need a shortwave radio with a schedule of English language broadcast or a computer with an internet connection. To help you with this, I'll announce times, frequencies, and website addresses at the conclusion of each series of stories. At the website for this show, that's www.outfarpress.com. You can find a schedule for dozens of international broadcasters in English. There you can also listen to the past 5 shortwave